This is a good place to give you my interpretation of the Gospel according to Khadija. Stick with me, kid, and I'll make this prophet gig profitable. I can't prove it, mind you, but it makes more sense than this coming from God. Having married money twice and climbed the social ladder of Mecca, Khadija was in trouble. Her fortunes were dwindling, while her absentee husband employee sulked in caves. Having made a fortune selling trinkets to the Hajj pilgrims at the pagan fairs surrounding the Kaaba, Khadija knew all about religious scams. So she had motive, means, and opportunity. What's more, her behavior was consistent with my theory. According to Aisha's testimony in the Hadith and Ishaq's in the Sirah, Khadija was the real founder of Islam. Mohammed believed that he had been possessed by a demon. He was scared to death. She converted him to Islam, usurping her nearly dead cousin's credibility. Remember what she said?
"No, never, it can't be. Be happy. I swear by Allah that he shall never humiliate you. Truly, I hope you will be the prophet of this people. Allah will not bring you to shame."
Let's review the facts. The caravan business Khadija owned owed its prosperity to Allah's recently restored pagan rock shrine. It stood not more than 100 meters from where this conversation took place. Mecca provided one of the very few wells, shallow as it was, for caravans moving goods from the ports of Yemen to Syria. While that was good, no one becomes rich caring for folks passing through town. So the Kaaba became Mecca's meal ticket. Mohammed's great-great-great-grandfather, Qusay, had gained control over the idol temple and organized the annual pilgrimage to the shrine. He collected a tax from every Arab attendee. While a religious tax was a profitable idea, and one that made its way into Islam, the series of economic fairs Qusay arranged surrounding the Hajj proved to be his most capitalistic venture. Papa Muttalib, Muhammad's grandfather, the one who sacrificed camels to the Kaaba idols at a sorcerer's urging, ultimately gained control over the concession to feed and water the pilgrims. He became the recipient of the religious tax, something that made him even richer. As the Kaaba's custodian, he pocketed big bucks, charging Arab chiefs rent for housing their sacred stones. He charged them more for visitation rights, and still more for their god's care, feeding, watering, and dusting services. The combination served to make the merchants of Mecca rich. By Bedouin standards, anyway. Khadija was a beneficiary, so she told Muhammad, "Better than being the Kaaba's custodian, you are Allah's prophet. And that's more prestigious and profitable than being a recluse, my dear." A hadith entitled,
"Khadija the First to Believe,"
contained these incriminating lines.
"Muhammad was to tell them of his Lord's bounty to himself. Of the bounty of your Lord let your discourse be."
This was followed by,
"Thereupon the messenger began to proclaim Allah's bounty to himself."
Ishaq Surah reports,
"Khadija was the first to believe in Allah and His Apostle. By her Allah lightened the burden on His prophet. He never met with contradiction and charges of falsehood, but he was comforted by her when he went home. She strengthened him and belittled the opposition."
Khadija believed in Allah before Muhammad did, because Allah was her meal ticket. And while she conceived the prophet idea, she had to endure a great deal just to keep God's messenger going. His
contradictions
prompted
charges of falsehood.
We have already discovered these echoing throughout the Hadith. So Khadija
belittled the opposition.
This made her the inspiration for the Koran's overwhelming propensity to condemn Muhammad's opponents, threatening them with doom. Testimony in support of the profitable prophet plan can be found throughout Tabari's history.
"During the Jahiliyyah, I came to Mecca and stayed with Abbas bin Muttalib. The sun rose while I was looking at the Kaaba. A young man,"
that would be Muhammad,
came up and gazed at the sky. He turned to face the Kaaba. Soon after, a woman,
Khadija,
and a youth,
Ali,
came and stood behind him. The young man bowed, and the woman and youth bowed. Then the man stood erect, followed by the woman and the youth. The young man prostrated himself, and they did the same. Abbas asked, "Do you know what this is?" "No," I answered. "This is Khadija, my nephew's wife. He has told me his Lord has commanded them to do what you see them doing. Allah's oath, I do not know anyone on the face of the earth but these three who follow this religion." I asked Abbas, "What is this religion?" He answered, "This is Muhammad bin Abdallah, who claims that Allah has sent him as his messenger with this religion, and that the treasures of Chusroes and Caesar will be given to him by conquest."
This is an incriminating confession. It is an admission of guilt, proof that Islam was created by a wannabe pirate. I'd like to linger on this hadith a moment. I'm surprised that the Islamic scriptures would confess to the profitable prophet plan so openly. This is the first explanation of the motivation behind Mohammed's religion. And we're told that it was conceived to steal treasure by way of conquest. While this is confirmed countless times in Medina, we're still in Mecca, just 3 partial surahs into the Koran. And Tabari's hadith does not stand alone. Ishaq reveals a similar tradition, only his is more direct.
When I was a merchant, I came to Mecca during the Hajj pilgrimage. While I was there, a man came out to pray and stood facing the Kaaba. Then a woman and a boy came out and stood praying with him. I asked, "What is their religion? It is something new to me." Abba said, "This is Muhammad, who alleges that Allah has sent him with it, so that the treasures of Chusroes and Caesar will be opened to him. The woman is his wife Khadija, who believes in him."
The original motivation for Islam was greed. The profitable prophet plan has been confirmed by the Hadith, Sirah, and Koran. A false prophet composed situational scriptures for money. However, the con got off to a rocky start. Mohammed impugned his credibility. Rome had long since been plundered, so the last Caesar had been sandals up for centuries. And you may be wondering why Mohammed would covet Chusroes' treasure. I did some digging around and found that he was Khosrau Parvez, a Persian king and contemporary of Mohammed. In 626 A.D., adjusted for today's dollars, he had stashed away over $2 billion in silver and gold. His annual income exceeded $700 million. Relative to the others of his day, he was the richest man alive. In Bukhari, we find another confession of guilt.
The prophet said, "Khosrau will be ruined, and there will be no Khosrau after him. And Caesar will surely be ruined, and there will be no Caesar after him. And you will spend their treasures in Allah's cause."
Jihad. And
Bukhari. The prophet said, "If you live long enough, the treasures of Khosrau will be opened and taken as spoils. You will carry out handfuls of gold and silver."
then
Bukhari. I have been given the keys of the treasure of the world by Allah.
money was the motivation behind Islam. In this light, let's examine the remainder of the second revelation of the profitable prophet plan.
Quran 93, verse 9. Therefore treat not the orphan with harshness, or oppress him, nor repulse the beggar. As for him who asks, do not chide him. But as for the favor your Lord has now bestowed upon you, Muhammad, announce it.
This also sounds suspicious. Islam's first 2 religious covenants are specific to Muhammad. He was an orphan, treated with harshness. He was oppressed, probably molested, as we will learn later, and he had to beg. He was chided as a child and as a man. These things haunted him. It is why he had his God tell those who treated him so poorly that it wasn't nice. But he would get even, because his dark spirit was going to make him rich and them poor. Then, in a less than godly blunder, Muhammad's Lord tells his prophet to announce their business relationship before introducing himself, or telling us anything about his nature or purpose. He even contradicted himself. The 73rd surah told Mohammed to avoid such announcements. If you think I may be a little too cynical here, just wait. Each of the next 20 surahs serve to confirm my theory, one already rife with confessions.